Okay, we're live.
No.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Hello, Mary.
Hello, hello. Wonderful to see you.
You too. Um, we wanted to come and talk about, well, I call this Xmen in action, or we call this Xmen in action. Um, and so we're both Access Consciousness Xmen facilitators, which we'll talk about what that actually is for people who don't know. And we're also both, we love, like, we both live, like, we both love to live, and we both use our bodies a lot and love to actually be literally in action. And so I just thought, well, I wonder where we can go with it. So thanks for being here with me.
Oh, you're so welcome. It was just popping. I'm always following what Heather is up to, and it's that piece about action that just draws me towards like just constant movement, constant action. It's like, oh, such an X-Men.
Yes. Yeah. And so let's talk a little bit about, that question of like, what is an X-Men, which is a funny question because X-Men can't be defined. But what would you, for people who aren't familiar with this conversation?
Well, we start kind of at the basics. Originally, when it was created, it was ADD, ADHD, OCD, autism spectrum, and kind of everything in between. And then we kind of started to get that basically we're all on that spectrum somewhere. And so
Totally.
X-Men is basically different,
Yeah.
just different.
People who are different, who might not even realize that they're different. That was me for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's a specialty area in access consciousness, and so using the tools of access consciousness to explore, the capacities that exist in the difference that we be, and because so many of us are different. Like, I didn't realize how different I function, than the rest of the world, because I just was like, well, I'll just do life like everybody else, which didn't really work. Not very fun. Um, and then so there are people that do that, and there are people that just can't do that, and get frustrated and whatever. And but it's looking at all these places where we've made ourselves wrong, or the world has made people wrong, by giving them a diagnosis, or labeling their capacities as a disability, basically, and exploring the world of strength and ability and potency and capacities that are buried underneath all of those labels. Some that are widely known, like ADD, ADHD, autism, OCD, but some that are also the labels that we're constantly giving ourselves.
Yeah. And the judgments, right? X-Men are so good at judgments. So all the areas that we're judging ourselves, which are actually our talents and abilities and capacities,
Yeah.
the things we made ourselves wrong for.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned this. It's like one of the things that is true for a lot of X-Men is that, like, this the speed of functioning, and like like movement, movement, whether it's with bodies, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that, but movement of energy, really, movement in your life. And I think a lot of X-Men sort of, like, if you've been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, or you haven't, but you have those tendencies, which I know I definitely do, and it's like this, like, getting bored really quickly, or just needing to move on, or like, I love playing videos at like twice the speed, that kind of thing. Like, when I found that function, I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
this is awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. And it's making me laugh because when I was teaching, I'm never tired from that part of my life of teaching in the school systems. But one of the things my students had to do was submit these recordings, right? And everything was way too slow for me when I was doing evaluation. So I was literally would put it on high speed, and I would hear everything that I was required to hear.
Yeah.
Right. And the breaker speed was like just way too slow.
Totally. Totally. And we stop ourselves from moving that fast, like from being in that much sort of dynamic action, because, well, I don't, for lots of reasons, we don't really even really need to, I mean, I guess part of it is we don't want to be so different, and we decided that it's wrong. Because like ADD and ADHD have been labeled as very wrong. Like you need to medicate and slow down, and but I know for me, there's actually like a heightened presence if I'm willing to be like if I choose that as well. It's like there can be this heightened presence and sense of engagement with the world when I'm moving fast. And that is, and it's like more gets done, more gets created when I'm creating more.
Yeah. And the energy, like the level of creation when we are moving.
Yes.
Like when I'm on the bike, or in the water or swimming or in the sport is when all of these like lesson plans, and I'll get back off the bike and I just got to sit down and write all this down because so much comes to me in movement.
Very true. Me too. And a lot of times I will, like, one of the tools we use in Access with businesses is talking to your business, right? So actually having a conversation with your business and going, what do you require of me today? What can I do today? What can I choose today? Whatever. And so often my business will go, like, what I will get is go in the woods, go hike, or go, now I do a lot of figure skating. So go do that, go do yoga, whatever it is. And when I move my body, it's the same thing. It's like it's like this creative universe, or get body work. Like it could be also that, like just, some level of like engagement with my body. Mm-hmm. There's this creative universe that just explodes open. And I'm always like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God,
And in this world, like with business or bodies, it's like we have this little voice that comes at us. Like if you're not sitting at a desk and working like that, there's, that there's something wrong, right? So there's all these definitions of what working is. Whereas, Heather and I will go out on the bikes and like you say, on the ice or whatever that is. And that is where business is being created.
Yeah, totally. All the time. I mean, the downloads that I get are nowhere near, like when I'm moving my body, the downloads that I get of like creative possibilities are just like so much more like robust and like exciting, than when I'm just like sitting around waiting for stuff to show up, I'm like, oh my God, I can't stop moving.
Exactly. And now, like, you're willing to trust that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely. Yeah. And, there's also this level of like the movement. So there's the movement of our bodies, and there's the movement of our brains. Right. And, even like having conversations with people that are really slow, or, like where we're just sort of, it's like being in the world that like functioning that from that much speed, in a way, and like having your brain just constantly be like firing, and how wrong that's been made, by in so many different places. And so when one of the things that I think this is my favorite thing about the Xmen classes is that like the 2-day class, I facilitate that one the most. And it's like in 2 days, you just watch people, like the levels of judgment in people's world about themselves, it just goes away. It's like the most miraculous, like getting out of judgment adventure, where after 2 days, you're like, whoa, not only am I not wrong, but I'm pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
know?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, you really, in that class, you start to see how amazing you are. I mean,
Yeah.
the class is brilliant, that 2-day class, because you get a lot of information. That's one thing I love about it. And
Yeah.
I've taken it many, many times. And there's tons of information if you're looking for information, autism spectrum and ADHD, and like, what is all this stuff? So there's great information delivered.
Yeah.
And then there's that energetic piece delivered. And that literally frees you from all those judgments, all those points of view, like having made yourself wrong forever.
Yeah.
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 And to be honest, when I first started the classes, it was like all about teaching. Like I wanted to be a better teacher, and these were great information, and I'm going to take this class, and it's going to be so wonderful. And it was. And then one day I realized, whoa, just a minute here. I think I am an Xmen.
Yeah. Totally. I love that Kathy wrote freedom is delivered, exactly, delivered and chosen, yeah, it's so funny because I never was drawn to the Xmen classes because I was like, well, I'm not a kid and I don't work with kids and ADD, ADHD, OCD, autism, like, okay, cool, whatever, And then Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, asked me the question, have you acknowledged the difference that you be? And I was like, I'm not different. I don't know what you're talking about, And then it was like that started this exploration of difference, the joy of difference, the beauty of difference, the strength of difference, and I think that's, to me, what's so exciting about it is like underneath all of these judgments and wrongnesses and labels and then it is the difference that we be, and inside of that is like our capacity to create and generate everything, including a totally different world.
Yeah.
But also like, anything you want to do in your business or with your relationships or, we look at just this like huge, like the manual in the 2-day class has tons of information, like you said, and it's like this exploration of like, well, what if this was actually this? And what if this was actually this? And people are like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you find too how that every class is so different? Like really, whoever's going to be in your class is going to create the class.
Completely. In a way that I haven't really seen. I mean, all access classes are totally unique. And there's something about these that's just like, I have one coming up on Friday. You're going to be there. And I'm like, cool. I wonder where we'll go here. I wonder where this one will go and where we will go. And it's just, everyone is such this amazing, energetic adventure that is completely different every time.
And Heather, if someone wanted to jump in on the Friday class, what is their prerequisite? Do they need the intro?
The foundation class, or the 1-day Xmen class. So it's all day Friday and Saturday. I'm going to be in Seattle. I am in Seattle. So we'll be, Kathy's asking about it. Well, for anybody in Seattle or that wants to come, we'll be here. And also online on Zoom. So there are people coming from all over the world. And it's Friday and Saturday. I think it starts at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Yes, online too. And I'm also going to be doing the day after, and this is like my favorite combination of classes. On Sunday, I'm going to be doing a 1-day sex and bodies class, which is my specialty class, and having like exploring Xmen bodies and exploring Xmen with sex is, it's very potent. It's just this incredible, like, after you've gotten into, because Xmen bodies are so different. And that's one of the things that we don't really realize is like our bodies are actually different, and they're actually like, we're actually a different species in a lot of ways, like our bodies function totally differently than the rest of the world. And when you have, the awareness of all of it, it's like, you can really use that. And, a lot of Xmen, when it comes to sex, that's a very intense area. You come in, you get in bed with somebody, and you have so much awareness, and it can be really challenging for Xmen to have a sexual reality that's really fun for them. So that's also one of the things that we explore, is that it's like, how does your body actually function in the world, and what would it be like to have a sexual reality that includes your body and your difference and your awareness, where you can actually create rather than just sort of be managing all these energies that you're aware of. So it's a really cool class. Kathy was asking for the link. It's on my website, heathernichols.com. I think if you just go to the website and go to the classes page, that's the easiest way to get to both of them. So they're also on the Access Consciousness website. So Kathy, it'd be fun to have you come and play.
And people, I would say, like, really trust your knowing. You'll know when the class, there were many different possibilities for me for choosing an Xmen class, the 2-day, and it was like, yes, that one. And it was so fast, the knowing that this was a particular class at this particular time. So a willingness to really trust that. And if a sex class is popping, it's like, yes, you'll know it'll be so fast, because for an Xmen, those awarenesses are really fast.
They are. And then we're like, oh, well,
then you can start to think, get in your head, and then, that can kind of mess things up sometimes. But if you're really willing to trust that knowing, like, yes, now is the time. Yes, this is the facility, done.
Yeah.
Cool.
Totally. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, everybody, with us this morning. And thank you, Mary, for coming and playing. I'm really looking forward to playing with you this weekend. And I wonder where we'll go.
I'm very excited for the class. I get to go to school for 2 days. It's so much fun for me.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.